Is this video made purely for copium after Arsenal have lost the third consecutive title race in 3 years? Absolutely. In today's video, we're going to be assessing what Arsenal should do and probably will do in the summer transfer window in order to break down the barrier that has held them from winning the league for the last 3 years. As always, please do like the video, and if you enjoy, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are close to 130 subscribers, so that would be greatly appreciated. Before assessing any incomings and potential outgoings, we need to discuss the reasons that the club may act in the transfer market. Of course, in the January transfer window, Arsenal failed to back Mikel Arteta. So why would they change now? Not spending in January meant that the Gunners remain at a healthy PSR level, which means they can afford to spend big and comply with the Premier League spending regulations. Not only that, I totally believe Mikel Arteta would potentially walk if he thought that we were not going to get investment in the summer transfer window. Leaving the club so short on forwards in January was criminal for the remainder of the season, and someone as ambitious as Mikel Arteta would need to be backed to appease him. After working so hard to build the club up from where they were previously, bringing in one of Europe's youngest, most exciting managers, and building the whole club and prospect and identity around Mikel Arteta, if he was to leave the football club, that would be catastrophic. Especially when the club is on the cusp of winning major honours and Josh has worked so hard for the club to build and become the powerhouse they are at the moment. Also, from an economical standpoint, Arsenal would want to carry on the profiling that they have done over recent years. In an economical standpoint, what would be the point in signing 100 million Declan Rice if they're not going to continue spending to get a trophy over the line? If you're going to buy a player like Rice, you need to have economic value for money. The only way to protect that investment is by winning big trophies to keep his stock in the whole market as a whole as an all-time high. Any next sale of Rice could be lessened if Arsenal go on a period where they may drop out of the top four and a big club comes in for Rice, but then you don't have the Champions League to keep him there. So effectively, if Arsenal don't then push on to the next level or continue doing as they are doing in recent years in the transfer market, the money would be wasted that have been paid for Kai Havertz, Declan Rice and any signings up to this point. And the final reason for us to spend big in the summer transfer window, in my opinion, is the fact of the vast amount of outgoings that are going to be presented to Arsenal Football Club. Raheem Sterling's going to leave on a loan, the same for Neto. Tierney, Zinchenko, Partey, Jorginho and so on and so forth have all been linked with a move away. Partey and Jorginho are even in the last year of the contract, so that is basically nailed on. So that begs the question, what do Arsenal need in terms of numbers? As a bare minimum, I think Arsenal need 2 forwards, 2 midfielders and 1 goalkeeper going in to next season. What I personally want is 1 striker, 1 left winger, 2 central midfielders, 1 creative midfielder if possible that could potentially play on the right wing as well, so that Saka can get some rest, and we might even need a left back, depends on how many left backs leave the club. So it's going to be a busy window. But there are obviously reasons behind each of these signings and why Arsenal need to make them. Gabriel Jesus' ACL means that Havertz will be the only option at striker going into next season, and that means that that is an area that we need investment. Not only that, the left wing heavily depends on the future of either Martinelli or Trossard, both who have been linked to Saudi. For me, I'd be more in favour of moving Trossard on just because of his age profile. If both Martinelli and Trossard stay, it might be more beneficial to bring in a player who can play either on the left and on the right, or alternatively the left and up front. Someone who's a bit versatile who can play in multiple positions so that minutes are shared around the squad. Not only that, Jorginho and Partey look to be leaving at the end of the season on a free contract because of their end of their deals and them not likely to be renewed at this point, which opens the door for 2 potential central midfielders. The club clearly wants a goalkeeper after recent links, and also the fact that Neto looks like he is going to be leaving after his loan deal. A left back looks like it could be in the works with all the potential outgoings to Zinchenko, potentially to Tierney, etc. A different profile might be interesting at this point. Someone who's aesthetically quick and can do an overlapping run with a good cross, as opposed to the likes of Calafiori, who's a bit of a chaos inversion player, or Lewis Skelly is also an inverted player. It might just be a different profile that we need to target. Finally, I feel that it is key to get a creative midfielder so that we can lessen the burden that Ødegaard has throughout the season. Not only that, I think that Ødegaard's injury this season diminished our title chances early doors, and it's essential that we can keep a sustained level of performance over the course of a season if injuries do happen. That said, I don't think that we're going to have as many injuries as we have this season, but that's by the by. Up to this point in the video, you're all thinking, who are Arsenal going to sign? I've been quite vague, so let's get into some names of the positions that I feel are of need, and who I believe is realistic for Arsenal to sign in this summer transfer window. Out the door, the players that this will be replacing is Neto, end of loan, Zinchenko, sale, potentially to Dortmund, they've been linked to Atletico Madrid, Tierney a free back to Celtic, Partey looks like he's going to leave on a free, Jorginho looks like he's going to go to Brazil on a free, Sterling the end of loan, one of the worst loan deals Arsenal have ever done, Trossard potential sale in this world to a Saudi team. I'd keep Martinelli personally, but if you can get 95 million from Saudi for Martinelli, then maybe my door is open to that. I would suggest Tomiyasu and Jesus as well, but on the basis that they have injuries, I don't think they will be out the door. Another option is Kivior, who I think might look to move on 4 minutes. So incomings. Firstly, the most important signing of the summer, that Jorginho replacement. Only kidding, I know you guys and myself would love a striker at Arsenal Football Club. It's been way too long since we've signed one, and we're in desperate need of that attacking edge. We need a player who can finish chances to win games effectively on their own. In the January window, we had a £40 million move rebuffed for Watkins. I'd be interested to see if we go in for that profile of player again, maybe even that exact player, but I don't think we will do. Obviously, the main target looks to be Isak, but I don't think Newcastle are at pressure to sell as of yet. I also think he's going to cost 150 million, so I don't really think Arsenal are going to sign Alexander Isak, unfortunately. It has to be said that Isak is definitely Mikel's first choice. Apparently he is in love with that player. For almost half the price of an Isak, so just under, you could get Benjamin Sesko. We know that Arteta loves the player. We know Arteta wants the player. He is quite raw. He's very tall, very quick. His dribbling could be a little bit better, but the one thing that Benjamin Sesko has that the club do not have as a whole is the ability to strike a ball really well. Benjamin Sesko fits the profile and age that we need. He fits the size that Arteta likes in his forwards when you look at the signing of Kai Havertz and the hold-up play and the fact that he wants to base his team around Jules. He's good aerially, he's good for Leipzig, and I think that he is physically pretty sound. He's built into his body really well. So my first prediction for a signing is I think we will go for Benjamin Sesko. I think we'll get Sesko. It's been about three transfer windows now that we've been heavily linked, so I think Benjamin Sesko to Arsenal will happen. Next, we need a winger. For me, there seemingly is one obvious candidate. With Barcelona not having the money for this player, Nico Williams seems like he could be on the way to the Emirates. A versatile player, can play all across the front three, not striker though. He's rapid, very good in 1v1. The lack of finishing ability worries me. I think he's only got 2 goals this season for the Spanish outlet, but equally, he is a terrific player, and if we had him and Martinelli on the left wing rotating and him playing in central like left 8 or him playing on the right wing, I think it would be a recipe for success. He's really tricky, he adds dynamism. Arsenal are known to not take advantage of their counter-attacks, and I think he could add the spark and a bit of pace in the front line that is needed for Mikel Arteta. Arteta is apparently very much a fan of the player, and after his performances for Spain, he has shown he can do it on the biggest stage of all. I think that Nico Williams will be a great addition, and his release clause is only £51 million. Now, a position of key in this summer transfer window is central midfield. Not only are we losing 2 bodies of mass experience in that position, being Partey and Jorginho, we're also losing Jorginho's leadership ability and passing abilities, and Partey's reliability at breaking a press through his drop of a shoulder. David Ornstein has touted Zubimendi as likely to join Arsenal in the upcoming transfer window, with us meeting his release clause, but alternatively, apparently we have discussed with Sociedad paying slightly more, maybe 5 to 8 million more, in order to be able to structure the deal in instalment payments, so not all that money is going out in this summer window. Zubimendi is a key profile. Liverpool and City have also shown interest, and he's a volume passer, very much like Jorginho. He's also successful at playing balls over the top of defences, very similar to Jorginho. My worry with Zubimendi is he's maybe not physically astute enough, but he does make up for that in game intelligence, so again, similar to the profile of Jorginho. Zubimendi keeps the team ticking with his short, accurate passing, and I think that he could dictate the tempo for an Arteta system very well, alongside Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard. Now, according to Sky Germany, Arsenal are also in talks with Joshua Kimmich. Stylistically, compared to Partey, Kimmich is not very similar in terms of his playstyle. I think he's technically a lot better, although I do think actually Partey is better at moving, bypassing the press with his passing and his progressive passing. That said, Kimmich can play in the same positions as Partey. Partey has been used regularly as a right back under Arteta and a central midfielder. Granted, at right back, Partey is a lot less impressive, especially since his physical attributes have gone off since his injuries in recent years. But Kimmich can fill the same void, can be as versatile. He's a very good central defensive midfielder who can also play at right back. So I think that'll be key. Obviously, he came through at Bayern Munich at right back, but has winning mentality more than anything, and I think Joshua Kimmich will be a great addition. And I think the reason that Arsenal could have a march over Liverpool on this signing is because they're in talks now, heavy talks with Kimmich now, and Trent hasn't decided to leave Liverpool as for sure yet, so Liverpool might be talking to Trent about getting a renewed contract, and I don't think Liverpool would sign Kimmich if Trent was going to stay at the club. So they're distracted with the Trent situation. That leaves the door open potentially for Arsenal to bring in Kimmich. The other thing I think as well is when you look at Real Madrid, they are looking at the Trent situation as well. So I think they're another big player who obviously would go in for a free agent such as Kimmich's stature, but I just think that the two teams that would rival us are distracted. So Joshua Kimmich could potentially be an Arsenal player at the beginning of the season. Left back is an interesting one. We could pivot to a profile who overlaps and gets crosses in, like someone like Anthony Robinson or Kirkez, who have done it in the Prem. But I have no actual recommendations or names. Sorry, that's one for the Arsenal scouts to look into. A creative midfielder I would love is Florian Wirtz, but obviously he's a bit unrealistic. And while we have Odegaard, I don't think we would sign Wirtz. Obviously, Wirtz would require a crucial first-team status. He's better to start every week, and I just don't think anyone's going to usurp the captain. So that's unrealistic. Not only that, I actually think that he's potentially going to move to City. But I do think Arsenal will likely reintegrate Fabio Vieira into the first team. He can play on that right wing. He can play in attacking midfield. He's developed a bit more at Porto. Had a good season over there, apparently. So I think we might look to bring him into the first team fold and have him as that backup to Odegaard once again. And hopefully that can be more successful this time round. Just makes me think, if only Emile Smith-Rowe stayed for another season, he would have played so much football this season, especially with our injuries. Finally, in goalkeeper, Joan Garcia has been the main link for years, so I do think we probably just get that over the line and get that signed as a young up-and-coming keeper to play second fiddle to Raya for the next few years. Alternatively, we could just make Neto's loan a permanent. We've brought him in, he's 35, we've seen he's a professional. I don't know if he's very good anymore, but he's not been able to play much due to the fact that he has been cup-tied, but we could potentially bring him in and just have him around the squad. To conclude, in the event that we get all the potential positions to sign for Arsenal Football Club, I think Joan Garcia comes in, a left-back comes in, Kimmich, Zubimendi come in, Williams and Sesko. They're the basically realistic window targets, I think, and I believe the signings would massively elevate the club. Would they make us win the league? It's not as much of a guarantee as if we signed Isak instead of Sesko, but I think we'd put ourselves in a very good place. Spending that much money also shows the squad that we're ambitious, and hopefully that would lead to the extensions of contract, which is even more important than the signings we make, of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel and Saliba, because that should be next on the agenda. But who do you think that we will sign in the summer? Please let me know in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.